Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Call Scotland webinar this afternoon on accessible music software with Figurenotes. We're really pleased to welcome Rebecca Di Rollo from Drake Music Scotland here this afternoon, and really looking forward to hearing all about Figurenotes, which looks like a really accessible and innovative tool. Rebecca's a music educator and Figurenotes officer at Drake Music Scotland. Develops training and resources for teaching music in an inclusive way. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Rebecca, and we look forward to hearing all about it, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna, and thanks everybody if you're on the call now or if you're tuning in afterwards. Yeah, as Joanna says, I'm Rebecca. I'm a music educator from Drake Music Scotland and also Figurenotes officer. Drake Music Scotland are a music organisation that help people with disabled musicians to flourish, and we begin from sort of school age and right up to professional level. So we have some people that started with us in primary school who are now professional musicians working all over the world, composing and playing on live stages. So we use a variety of techniques and technologies to help our disabled musicians access the music they want to play, they want to perform. And usually it's a mixture of different technologies that really depends on the person, what their needs are and what they want to play and what sort of music they want to put out in the world. And I'll talk a little bit about some of that in a minute as well. But one of the things we use throughout our entire sort of education programme and beyond, some of our professional musicians are still using this. It's Figurenotes, and in fact, I'm going to tell you about it in a second, but I'm going to share my screen first because I've got a little PowerPoint. Oh no, not that. Oh yeah. Oh no, not that. Stop sharing. Always the way, like with the technology. Okay, I want to share this window here. All right, so yeah, okay, I'm going to just start now. Yeah, so one thing we use in all of our projects across the board from schools and onward is Figurenotes. So Figurenotes is an accessible alternative to music notation that uses colour and shape to show pitch and rhythm. So instead of having a quite abstract musical notes and lines, this is a sort of just a more accessible way of presenting the exact same information. So each note has a colour. So C is always red, and each octave has a shape. So as you can see there, the C's are all red, but in middle C there's a circle, and then the octave above that there's triangles, and then below there are squares, and below that there are crosses. And this goes on throughout the whole system. So it kind of shows you there what it would look like on a keyboard. So it's an adaptable way of working that fits with current resources. So for any music educators out there, any teachers and things like that, it's not a pedagogy, it's not something that you work through, it's a way of adapting what you already do to make it more inclusive, to present that information in a more inclusive way. So it's accessible, immediate, and it's confidence building. And I'll show you kind of why in a second, I think. So the way that it works is, depending on the instrument you play, there are two ways to use it. The first is our match and play system. So this is where you put stickers on an instrument. So I've got like a little picture here of a keyboard and of chime bars or a violin. So it's really great for anything that is struck or plucked, so percussion, strings, guitars, keyboards, things like that. And then you will have your shapes on your page, and you simply match the shape on your page to the sticker on your instrument. The second way to use it is for woodwind and brass and sort of things that are instruments that you can't really stick a sticker on. You can use it and link the colour and shape to a finger pattern. So in a similar way that you might teach an instrument with a finger pattern, we're just associating a colour and a shape with that. And on the screen here, I've got different ways of displaying that information. There's lots of different ways to do it, and lots of people do it in different ways. But what we have found across the board is that having a colour and a shape associated with a note, the musical note, seems to be a very easy way to learn, and it sort of ingrains the knowledge quicker a little bit. Then what we do is we learn to play in pulse. So once we can match to either our chart or to our stickers on our instrument, we then begin to play in pulse. So don't worry if you're not musical, it's okay. I'm going to try and keep it so that it's not too much jargon. But if you are, then you'll understand this bit as well. So the rhythm is kind of a very unique part of the Figurenotes system. So it's the way that we show rhythm is very different to how we show it in standard notation. So there's lots of different coloured systems which you might come across in classrooms and things like that, percussion plus and boom whackers and things like that. And it all works really well. But the unique thing about Figurenotes is that the rhythm is sort of presented in a different way. So on the left of the screen here, I've got Figurenotes rhythms, and then on right next to it, I've got standard notation rhythms. So with Figurenotes, it's very literal. So like the note is as long as it looks. So if you, for example, look at the top image here, I've got a green circle, which is like a one beat, that's one note. And then I've got a tail that sustains along the 4 boxes, so it shows how long you should play for, and that kind of goes on. So we've got in the next image we've got tails as well, but they're a bit shorter. We've got 2, then we've got our 1 beat notes, which are 1 shape, and then when things are shorter, for shorter notes, we squash them into the same space, and as you can see in the bottom image here, and that's why it's vastly different from how we do it in the standard notation here. It looks like there's a lot going on. It looks like it's longer, whereas actually it's exactly the same. It's just got more notes to play within the same amount of time. So all bars are the same size, and the notes just fill as many beats as required. And then this is what's quite unique about it as well, because it's a progressive system, so you can progress to reading standard notation if you want to. Our sort of standard rhythm notation is introduced in our stage 3 of Figurenotes, so I'll come to that in a wee second. Yeah, so I'm a drummer, so I just love the rhythm. I think it's just one of the most unique things about it. It really helps to ingrain a sense of pulse and to play for as long as you need to play. I think it's quite a famous sticky bit that we all have as educators, especially around music, is trying to sustain and get your people to sustain for as long as needed. As I said earlier, all the bars are the same size, and as long as they have the same number of beats. So it's, as you can see, this image shows the complete difference between that and standard notation there. There's actually a 4-beat note there, but it's in a very short bar, which sort of can be quite confusing. So this system kind of just demystifies that. So there's no confusion over how long's the bar, how long do I have to play. It's all very literal visual system. And then the way that rests work is if there's no note, then there's no sound, which works really nicely. Or you can use white icons as rests, which are quite useful if you have a bit of like an odd timed rest or something, if it's like a dotted note or something, then that really helps to show how long you don't play for, because the gaps are just as important as the playing, really, in any sort of musical experience. And then if you are a musical, then this will be quite obvious, but I would refer to these as sharps and flats, which are basically like the black keys on the keyboard. So the way that we show that is by arrows. So on the note in question, there'll be an arrow either up to the right, which means it's sharp, or down to the left, which is flat. And on some instruments, you just actually move your hand into the direction of that, and that sort of makes a lot of sense. Now, what I was talking about earlier is the progressive part of the system. So this is Figurenotes has 3 different stages. So stage 1 is the shapes all in one line, reading left to right, which is how we learn to read. If you are a musical, then and you see something like this, it is a bit baffling for us who know how to read notation. But when you've got somebody who's brand new, it's actually really like obvious, and you can literally put a sheet of music down in Figurenotes, like a little bar of music down in Figurenotes, and just have a stickered instrument in front of someone, and you don't need to say anything. It's intuitive, so they can immediately play as long as they can match. Then you can move on to stage 2 if you want, or if you don't, that's also fine. Which is just basically the same information that is on the stage. So you start to see the shape of the music now. Start to see where it goes up, where it goes down. And then stage 3 is returning the colour information there, but using standard notation. So we have some plugins for that for different music programs, such as MuseScore or Figurenotes. These coloured noteheads, you can play lots of games and things to help transition into that. But usually by the time you get to stage 3, because you have such a great sense of pulse, it's usually quite easy to then move on if that's the right thing for the person you're working with. So the idea and the sort of the thing that's all built around it, Figurenotes is all built around, is that everyone can play music, everyone should be able to play, and it's just about how we show that information there. Because you have a bit of instant success, you can literally, we always say we can get a rock band together in 5 minutes on our training days. People who've never played before can start playing their favourite songs. And because of that immediate success, that builds confidence, which then helps to bring motivation to progress on and play more difficult things and try again, try harder things, which I think is great. Now, one of the things that is new to us, because we've been working with Figurenotes for a really long time, for over 10 years. It was invented in Finland by these 2 really cool guys called Marco and Carlo, who have a school, Resinari School in Finland. And somebody in Drake Music Scotland found out about this and went over to visit them. And since then, we've been making software, resources, things like that for Figurenotes for about 10 years. And one thing that's new for us is our new Figurenotes software. So this is kind of exciting bit. So Figurenotes software is it's a web-based software. So you can log into your credentials on any computer machine if you're working in a school, if you're working then at home, maybe you're working across lots of schools or lots of different settings or centres, then you can access all of your scores everywhere. So, and it's a hugely adaptable thing. So it just allows you to tweak and convert some of your music resources into Figurenotes notation, which increases differentiation in your lessons. So I've had lessons, for example, I've had sessions where I've had people playing Figurenotes on stage one, people playing standard notation, people playing by ear, all together in the same room, and it all works because you can just put that Figurenotes in front of the person who's playing that, and it doesn't single anyone out or make anybody feel different or othered. So it's really easy to use this software. It's kind of drag and drop system, which is quite nice, where you can click notes in. You can also import and export files from other softwares, which is great. So you can use XML files, or like music files from MuseScore or Sibelius. You can drag them into the Figurenotes software, and it will just change your scores into Figurenotes. And you can write worksheets, things like that. You can do melody parts, chord parts, percussion parts, lyrics, full scores. You can use it on smart boards in classrooms for composition, so students can actually drag and drop themselves. And you can access the scores from iPads as well, which is really nice. So that's quite a nice thing to be able to hold in your hands. Yeah, so there's a lot of new features and things as well, which is great. I'm going to skip past this bit because slightly, but okay, so that's kind of Figurenotes in a nutshell, and that's a little bit about the software and how it all works. But there are some other really great adaptive instruments and accessible music technologies that you can use. So I just want to talk a little bit about them. I did mention iPads before, but iPads are great. In the top right-hand corner of my screen here, I've got an image of our iPad lab for Drake Music Scotland playing, and they're playing with iPads on a stand, which is really nice, because if there's a stand and it's plugged into a little speaker, then it does really feel like a real instrument. And it's great if there is limited mobility as well, then that's a fantastic way to sort of make it accessible. And with these iPads, you can use great apps. ThumbJam's a great app. It's on the bottom left. You can see there's an image of it there, and it's got Figurenotes built into it. So it's a very adaptive instrument, which is very simple to use, but it can also have lots of very complicated functionality as well if you want to go for the complex. And the sounds are really nice. It's great for if you have little mobility, or maybe if, because you can really like put up the touch so that, you know, it can be very reactive, or it can take a lot for it to be touched. And then GarageBand as well, it's really good. That comes with your iPads, not on your Windows tablets, but on iPads. Every iPad comes with GarageBand. Anyway, that's great. It's really accessible, and it's lots of games and things as well. That doesn't have Figurenotes built in, I'm afraid, but hopefully in the future. And some other things we do are laptops, keyboards. That's all technology. It's all adaptive instruments. Put stickers on your Figurenote stickers on your keyboard. Wowie speakers, which are amazing. They vibrate with the sound, so which is great for blind users. Actually, where you can actually, or if somebody's just very sensitive, then it's a real another level of experience music is to experience the vibrations as well. And then one of the more complicated things we have here is sound beams. So that's in the middle bottom image here, and it's quite a complex piece of tech, but you can manipulate the sound using just movement, using the little red sort of microphone looking things there. And you can also patch in any sort of sounds on the switches and things like that, which are great. Some of our musicians still use switches, you know, switches with your elbow, switches with your hand. switches wherever it's available to you. So some of the things that you need to get started with Figurenotes is our stickers. So stickers, each sheet does 4 keyboards, or depending on the instruments, you might need to have more or less. So that's like 20 keyboards, sorry, it does in the value pack. So yeah, you get 4 keyboards, 4 octaves. And these are great to use. It's great to use that alongside the software. And then we have magnets as well, which are really fun for composing and for improvising and for using on whiteboards. Just really fun. There's something about using the physical movement, which is really great. Then we have tune packs. We have lots of different packs with tunes in them, aimed at different levels and different themes. And then we also have another piece of technology, which is our accessible music hub, which is an online library of lots of resources. I mean, we have quite a large community of Figurenotes users all over the world, so a lot of them are really happy to share their resources and share things like that. So there's a lot of great tunes and lesson plans and things. Even great things for if you're not a musician and you're a teacher and you just want to do a bit of music in your class. There's some really nice simple things where you just hold up a big colour and you've got Figurenote stickers and everybody's playing a colour and everybody's playing together making music. And yeah, the next thing is what we've been talking about is our no tape program. So this is our software program which you can access with the web browser, so you can get it from anywhere. And it's an accessible program, so it's made to be accessible, but it's got some advanced features hidden in there as well for you techie people or musical people around. We also have a lot of support about this because it's an ongoing sort of development. So we're working with a development partner at the moment to keep improving the software. So things will update, they'll change all the time, and we've got lots of software tutorials and things like that on our YouTube channel, really short videos that just walk you through how to do simple things in the software as well. Yeah, and then we also deliver a lot of training. So you can check us out on our website, figurenotes.org, and you can see that we do some online training courses and things like that if you want to learn a bit more about this. But if you have any questions or anything at all about this going forward, you can certainly get in touch with us. Visit our website, figurenotes.org, for more info. But you can also email us anytime at figurenotes@drakemusicscotland.org, and we love to, have personal touch where we ask you questions.
Okay, yeah, I had neither, but it looks really good and like it would be very suitable. So I'll send you on the information about it.
Yeah, so I think that's really neat. You can also get some free resources if you're interested in just getting started. You can visit our website for that information as well, or you can join our Facebook group, Figurenotes Let's Make Music, which will help us, which is sort of a big community of Figurenotes users if you've got any questions, things like that. Yeah, and I think that is me really in terms of talking. I feel like I've been talking about it for a very long time. I hope some of that was useful to those that are in the call and those that are watching this after. I don't know if anyone's got any questions they want to ask now.
Does anyone have any questions you want to pop into the chat for Rebecca, or just put your mic on if you like and ask a question? Oh, there's a couple coming up, Rebecca.
Oh, yay. Great.
Everyone's been soaking it all in and out of. I was going to ask you about packages, kind of pricing packages. Is there information on the website about that? There seems to be quite a lot of different packs and resources, so there are different kind of options for kits to buy.
Yeah, it's all on the website, and you can always you can ask us as well. Just get in touch with us, and we can we can sort of guide you on what might be useful for you, so you don't end up buying anything that might not be the right thing for you.
Yeah, depending on the learners and their abilities and things as well.
Exactly. Or maybe you just want a few things to get started and things like that. So we're always really happy to help, because we know that budgets are low, and it's always difficult to get resources, isn't it? So
sure. Yeah, you see that question from Linda there. Linda's saying, I see the cost is $69.99. How much would an authority package cost? Do you do authority packages?
Is that for like a local authority, I'd imagine?
Yeah.
What we do is we usually do like bulk discounts. So we do like, maybe you would get like 10 licenses for the price of 9 or things like that. So, but we can, if it's to cover a local authority, and you can just get in touch with us and see how many teachers you have that will be useful for, and we can, work something out that will suit your budget and suit us as well. Because we try to keep it as useful as possible. It might be that if you have a couple of teachers in one school, they might be able to share an account or something like that. So whatever we can do to help keep the costs down. So what I'll do though is I'll put our email address in the chat.
That'd be great.
So that you can, which I should have sent to you.
It's okay. I was just wondering as well, in terms of, non-musical people, if they're kind of liking the look of it but thinking, "Ooh, I'm not sure if I can use that." A lot of people might have tried Soundbeam, and as you say, that is quite a relatively complex for somebody that's not musical. Would you say there are plenty of things to kind of get started with if you're really you can't read music and you're not a music teacher?
Yeah, absolutely. I think even just what we like to call the three chord bashers, those songs that are just three colors essentially. You go from red to yellow to blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, and that's you. That rhymed. So there's lots of stuff, and we have lots of resources like that, and we're happy to help with things like that as well. Because if you maybe get you an iPad, download Thumb Jam, and find a few, we can maybe give you a couple of songs, you can have a little go yourself and build up your confidence, and then you can take it out to your classes. And
is there any kind of free trial option? Can you have us however many day trial?
Yeah, so when you set up an account, you can do as much as you want, but you just can't save anything. So you can have a real root around and have a look about and see how it works and everything. And then if you're still not sure, you can get in touch with us, and we can give you a little extend your trial if you're still trying to make up your mind and things like that. No problem at all.
Great. It's Linda saying, "Yep, I see how great this would be for students with a CVI who struggle to see printed material."
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. You can blow things up really big as well, which is always great. And even if you don't have a really great connection, for example, like, because sometimes your internet connection in school is so iffy, your Wi-Fi is iffy, you can make something in the software, save it as like a PDF, and then use it on a tablet later on, and still like increase the size or do whatever you need to do, whatever works for the student, really. So
yeah, great. Okay, right, we're just coming up to past. Does anyone else have any questions? Or if not, I think I don't know, nothing else is coming up, Rebecca. So I think you've covered everything. That's been really interesting and really concise and clear. So that's great. And thank you very much for showing us Figurenotes. And I'm sure everyone will be going on to check it out. And this webinar is being recorded and will be archived, so that we'll be able to share that out to everybody from the website as well. So thank you very much for coming along today. Thanks for everyone attending, and we'll see you on the next call webinar. Okay, thank you. Good evening. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.